What's up, guys? I'm Joe. Today I'm talking about the new live album from Iron Maiden, The Book of Souls Live Chapter. So Iron Maiden is back. I am always happy to talk about Iron Maiden on this channel. My favorite band. I saw the band twice on this tour, and it was a really great one. And right after the second show, I was like, I really hope they put this on a live album, which of course was pretty probable. They put out live albums, pretty much on every tour at this point, or at least every other tour, something like that. But it's been a while. Their last one was In Vivo, which came from the Final Frontier World Tour. This one on the helm of the Book of Souls studio album, which came out in 2015. One that I really love and I still listen to quite consistently. I'm a big fan of, pretty much most of their work, but really for me there's like two camps of Maiden. There's like before Bruce Dickinson left, that kind of stuff, and then there was post when Bruce Dickinson came back. And they're pretty, different in their sounds. In the past, they had those big epic tracks such as Rime of the Ancient Mariner, or Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, Hallowed Be Thy Name. But they were like, maybe one per album, and then the rest of the album would be like mostly shorter tracks. But then now going into this post-2000 stuff, now it's like the majority of their songs are longer, these epic kind of tales. And for me, I really like the albums from Brave New World through Final Frontier. Final Frontier probably being my least favorite out of those four. But by the time the Book of Souls was announced, I kind of felt like I wanted to hear something different. I was getting the feeling that they had pushed that formula just about as much as it could go. Well, the Book of Souls really gave you the best of both worlds. You had some of their longest songs in their career, but at the same time, there were these short, punchier tracks that were more, sustainable as a single type thing. Bruce Dickinson and Adrian Smith, one of their main goals was to write songs like 2 Minutes to Midnight or Can I Play With Madness or The Evil That Men Do, like those kind of quicker songs, just kind of fun. Get that on there with, Speed of Light, Death or Glory, Tears of a Clown, songs like that. But then you get these big, massive, expansive epics, the Red and the Black. And then stuff like Empire of the Clouds, which was totally different for them as far as their sound goes. It was very piano-based and very progressive in nature. But really what I liked as far as the sound goes, I thought the album did a pretty good job of combining those two eras together. There's moments where it sounds like old Maiden. I mean, look at that big breakdown part of the Book of Souls. Sounds like something straight off of Power Slave, but at the same time incorporating those epics that you saw post Brave New World. And even a lot of the sounds on there. I mean, look at Shadows of the Valley. Reminds me a lot of Brave New World, that era of songs. So overall, I'm a fan of the Book of Souls. Saw them twice on the tour and was very excited for this live album. What I think is cool about the fact that they have so many live albums, and sometimes people start to see that as a sort of cash grab, but they really are documenting very different tours all the time. Because they're a band that really like to play the new material. On this live album, 6 out of the 15 are, new songs for the time, and take up a majority of the time on here. You have the Red and the Black, you have the Book of Souls, these long epics, which for some fans would probably be a disappointment if you're going there expecting the hits. But if you keep an eye out, you could just kind of catch that kind of stuff. The first time I saw them was in 2008. It was the Somewhere Back in Time tour, which as a new fan of Maiden was like a gold mine of, all their best hits. And, going real big on the Power Slave album, which is still my favorite. But then the next time I saw them, they were getting ready to do the Final Frontier. At that point, El Dorado was the only track that was out. And it was pretty much all, Brave New World and on, until the encores, and then, they did the usual Fear the Dark, Iron Maiden, and then a couple Number of the Beast tracks. But you're always getting a sort of variety with the set list, and if you're more of a casual fan and you show up to the Book of Souls tour, you might have a problem with, these long new songs you're not familiar with, but, I'll tell you what, the shows I went to, the fans knew the new stuff. And they were really into it because the performances of these have just been fantastic. Personally, I love the renditions of the new songs on here. I think they have a lot more character, a lot more energy than the studio recordings of them. While I really liked the album, I always found that the production was a little flat. It was just lacking something. These live versions certainly make up for that. Hearing a lot more going on with the 3 dueling guitars. I don't know if they created these harmonies post-recording the album or not, or they're just that much more apparent in the live version, but everything has a different kind of sound to it. You're hearing that extra harmony in the guitars, especially in stuff like If Eternity Should Fail and the Book of Souls. And you get a couple hits. You get the usual Fear of the Dark, Iron Maiden, little section there. Fear of the Dark is always a big fan favorite. I always love the live renditions a lot more than the studio, because at this point the full crowd is always singing along with the riffs and the melodies and, Bruce's vocals. Get the Number of the Beast, the Trooper, some standards that are usually in there. I will say I'm ready for Wrathchild to be out of the set list. This is one that they managed to just always play, it seems like, for one reason or another. I don't know if it's just because it's like a quick one to get through, get people a little energized, I guess. I'd be all for them switching it out with something else from the first 2 records. Bring back Killers, that would be really cool. And besides that, you get some older tracks, but they're, a little more less played. Children of the Damned was a huge highlight on this tour. It was very exciting to hear that one. I hadn't heard it live yet. And you get Power Slave, which I had heard on that first tour I saw them on, but hadn't been played since then, so it's been quite a while. Blood Brothers is a nice addition to have on here. I really love the Brave New World album. I know a lot of fans seem to get tired of this one. I just think it's like a really good crowd song. And the message that they, put around it just always like really makes for a nice feeling when the show's going on. This was one of the highlights of the last show I saw, actually. They close out with Wasted Years on here. Unfortunately, they're in the midst of a potential lawsuit over Hallowed Be Thy Name. As far as the lyrics go. So that's why that was cut from the first leg of the tour. It doesn't make it on here because they, haven't played it. But yeah, so you're getting a pretty good mix here. You're getting a lot of new tracks, but like, as someone that collects all the Maiden stuff, all the studio albums, all the live albums, you want to have those versions of the newer songs as well. And especially because the band is just performing them so well, you can just feel the excitement and energy, the passion they have for these songs, the fun that they're having on stage. You can just hear it coming off of these tracks. And Bruce Dickinson sounds phenomenal on this one. I mean, he usually sounds good in these later live albums. I mean, look at Rock in Rio, he sounds incredible. But, here he's coming off of having that tumor on the back of his tongue, so he had been recovered from cancer at this point. And it just feels very triumphant. It feels like a huge return. He came back, singing better and stronger than ever. I mean, look at Children of the Damned. Like, I am blown away by the performance on here because, for the most part, it just sounds like it's still the 80s, the way he's hitting these high notes. And really, there's a lot of areas where in like the past 10 or so years, you'd see some videos or hear some performances where he might be struggling a little bit. But here, the vocals just soar like they always had. And it really just is an incredible performance from him overall. So yeah, I love live music. I love Iron Maiden, so I was very excited for this release to come out. And, it makes for a really great one. Like I said, the highlights on here, probably Children of the Damned, because it's just more of a, deeper cut that they don't play quite as often. But then the new songs just, take on a life of their own outside of the studio versions and just sound even better on here. I think personally the Book of Souls is just a modern classic for them and hopefully goes down as one of their best songs. I kind of feel that way about If Eternity Should Fail as well. It just makes for a really great sort of operatic, dramatic opening. Speed of Light definitely packs more of a punch on here. And just the excitement and the energy between the band and the crowd is just totally flooring when you listen to it. So I'm going to give this one a 4.5 out of 5. Not my absolute favorite Maiden live album. There's so many to choose from. But one that absolutely holds up and makes for a great document of what was a really fun, really exciting tour. Okay, so let me know what you think of the album in the comments. Don't forget to check out some other videos. And as always, don't forget to subscribe. So thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you next time.